All right, construction champions, it's your host, Ron Nussbaum, and we're here for another episode of Construction Champions Podcast, where we're changing the mindset, we're having open door conversations, and we're moving into the 21st century. I'm super excited for today's guest. Me and Philip have gotten to know each other over the past few months as I have made my transition down into North Carolina. And Philip, it is great to have you here today.
Hey, Ron, thanks for having me, man.
Awesome, man. Why don't you tell all the construction champions out there a little bit about yourself?
I am the painting contractor. We primarily focus on residential repaints. That's kind of our niche. We've been doing this for about 2.5 years now. Got into it because of the pandemic. I used to work in transportation, doing logistics. I was in charge of overseeing about 5,000 vehicles, making sure that they got where they needed to go and on time. And during the pandemic, we needed to move because my wife got a promotion, but we couldn't transfer anywhere. So we took all of our retirement savings and we put it into this franchise.
Awesome. So just getting out there, getting going and everything. I love the perspective we're going to get here today. And kind of somebody that didn't grow up in the industry, but has found yourself in that residential construction industry. So I love it. Let's dive right into it. I'm going to ask the $1,000,000 question, and that is, what makes a construction champion?
From my point of view, we're out here trying to make people's visions come to life. And with that, a lot of communication. You have to be able to communicate effectively to be able to be a construction champion and able to help people's visions come to life. You also have to be able to follow up and provide just great customer service. Like ultimately, you know, you have to be the customer's eyes and ears during the project while your crew is doing the work to make sure that they're being represented on the job site, to make sure that that vision is what's happening.
I love that. I love talking about that customer vision because that's really what our job is. Like in the industry is, that customer comes to us with a vision and they paint it, and it's our job to be the architect of that and figure out exactly how do we get to that end point, and then also communicate that with the homeowner. How do you do that? What's some of your best practices to make sure that that vision becomes a reality?
Yeah. From the get go, after a customer books in an estimate, I get on the phone with them, try to understand, why are we painting, and what is the timeline that you're looking at, trying to get it done by. So just that discovery process before we even go out there for an estimate, trying to understand the why and the what, and then once we get on site, really digging into any special needs that might be for that particular customer. Because for us, we tend to be in houses that people are living in. So there's a lot more things that we have to work around in order to make sure that the customer is going to be fully satisfied. Are they working at home? Do they have kids or pets? Are the pets going to need to be boarded or put away while we're there on site? Do we need to keep the music down because somebody's going to be on Zoom calls all day? Those are the kinds of things that we have to look at, from an experience standpoint. And then there's just the actual painting itself, like what are the colors, what are the sheens. There's usually some customer education there. Just if a customer has pets or children and they're younger and they want to make sure that their walls last for a good long while, we're gonna probably tell them they need to get a satin sheen, and they probably want to up the quality of the paint a little bit to make sure that it's a nice washable, wipeable surface that's going to be in use for years to come. So those are the kinds of things that we try to dig into to try to get the best experience and the best product for our customers.
Awesome. And it sounds like and from knowing you, I mean, you have these conversations on a high level. Is how do you help guide that vision into what would be the best outcome for your homeowners? Because a lot of times homeowners can come in with this grand vision that at the end of the day, they're not going to be happy with, but you want to make sure that they're happy with the work you've done in the product. How do you help your customer work through that?
I mean, we can usually bring a customer's vision to life. There's always that balance of, you know, what they want versus what they need, price versus value. You know, what are at the end of the day are the things that they're really worried about with a customer. Like the other day, we did an estimate for some cabinets, and I came into the house and she was like, I really don't hate the cabinets. I was like, well, what is it about the kitchen that you really don't like? She said, well, honestly, it's really the countertops and the floor. I said, well, I can't help you with that, but I definitely know a guy. We referred it out to one of our partners, and I gave her an estimate for the cabinets in case they decided to go that route. But I think at the end of the day, maybe I didn't gain a customer right then, but I think I definitely helped them to achieve the vision that they were looking for, and help them with their budget too, because cabinets are kind of a specialty project, along with countertops or floors, and you know just throwing a coat of paint on something and changing the colors is maybe not always what they need.
Yeah, and that's amazing, recognizing that and then bringing in that collaboration to help that homeowner actually get to the end result. I mean, that's being in tune with your customer and understanding that they're not happy with something in the kitchen, but is it really something I can solve? Because the last thing you want to do is paint them the cabinets, and then that customer is unhappy because the expectation was completely out of the realm of what could be. And I love the collaboration. I know you do a lot of that, and you're a big component of that. I'm a big component of that here. And it's one of the reasons for the show. And tell me about what led you down that road. Why are you very collaborative? Why you bring these relationships together and nurture them? What is the calling for you with that?
At the end of the day, I just want everybody to be happy. And I'd rather you be happy with somebody else than upset with me, you know. Uh, and but at the end of the day, like the referral partners that I have, we swap business back and forth, and we try to make an overall experience for our customers, for our mutual customers, that it's just the best possible version. Um, like I said, at the end of the day, the customer and their happiness is really what drives me. I used to do, I had several decades of experience, managing profit centers for restaurants or enterprise rent a car. So customer service has always been at the forefront of what I do. Me personally, I don't like getting paint on me. And if I'm on a ladder, usually I'm having a bad day. Usually I'm out trying to take care of customers, meet new referral partners. That's kind of my role in the company right now. So we're just really trying to make sure that the customer gets the best possible experience. And the only way you can do that is by having people around you that you can also, use to take care of those customers.
Yeah, that's very well said right there. And when you talk about it being just a couple years in business, and you already have that mindset of building the business and not working in the business, that can take guys a long time to get to that road. So what do you accredit the ability to be able to focus on continuing to build that business and not, like you said, having a bad day being on the ladder? Because being on the ladder doesn't grow the business. What do you attribute that growth to?
Well, kind of two things. First off, I come from an entrepreneurial family. My father owned several insurance companies throughout the years. was a big into personal finance. Um, my grandmother was one of the first female real estate agents or my great grandmother was one of the first female real estates in the state of Alabama. Um, and then, her daughter was also a real estate agent in Alabama. And just, it's always kind of been in my family that, we own businesses and, you got to have that big picture view. The second part is, I am a franchisee, and we did a lot of due diligence into what we wanted to do. Like if you'd have asked, I have a degree in biology. I would have never thought that I would own a painting business ever. And when we were doing our due diligence and looking at different franchise options, my coach that kind of guided me through the process, he saw that I had a real high need for customer interaction, customer service, and having a business that could create jobs and a great workplace culture. And so he hooked me up with Wow One Day Painting, and it's just been a really good fit. The support on the back end has been absolutely fantastic. And I have people there that remind me, hey, you know, this is what you need to be doing. You don't need to be on that ladder, right? What can you do to be growing the business, adding to your team, and growing your marketing base.
Awesome. So let's dive into the franchising and kind of that, because it's a different perspective that we get being able to have a conversation about that, because that is an option, especially for people transitioning from other careers or like transitioning out of the military to move into a system that's already in place that helps you grow your business. What would you say to people that are weighing options on going out on their own, or what that kind of stuff looks like?
Um, it's really about fit between you and your franchisor. There, we talked to a lot of Wow One Day Painting franchisees during the process. We had that franchise coach that kind of helped us find a good fit. You just really need to dig into it and find that fit that's going to work for you, because like I was talking to another guy that just got out of a franchise contract with in a different industry. They do restoration, and so he's out on his own now. And he really didn't enjoy his franchise experience, and I think that's maybe because they weren't giving him the kind of support that he wanted throughout their time together. And just being able to have those conversations up front, know what you need out of a franchisor, that's going to be a huge part of it. That's going to determine what your satisfaction and your success.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it does all come back to the relationships all the time, especially in these conversations that we have. But I do have to ask, how did you end up on painting? Of all the franchises out there, how did that become the one that spoke the most to you?
I when we were doing the process, I was really set on actually like a home inspection franchise. And um, again, like during that sales process and discovery process, we didn't really connect with the franchisor as well. I was really excited about the concept, but the support wasn't there that I would have needed, to feel comfortable doing that. And then there was another one that was a real estate, or I'm sorry, estate sales. So when people want to downsize their homes, or if they pass and they need to have their estates sold so that it can go to their heirs and whatnot, then we would step in and do that. I also love that concept, but again, the support, the feedback, they were still really new. I didn't think it was a very proven concept. With Wow One Day Painting, it was a pretty proven concept. The owner of Wow One Day Painting Also is very successful in his other franchises that he owns, like 1-800 Got Junk and Shack Shine. They're doing great. Uh, and again, just that process of talking to those other franchisees. Um, yeah, at the end of the day, I don't like painting, but I was just really drawn to the community that they had among all these franchisees, and with the franchisor. Like, they've been fantastic.
It's amazing when I listen to you talk about that is this the stuff that you were looking for in that business community is the same thing you're building locally with that community and the same thing that you try to provide for your customers. How that becomes just completely for circle. What you want to deliver is also what you want to be delivered to you. And that's amazing. What do you think the future of the painting industry looks like as you're right in the middle of this and growing it? What's your pulse on the market?
I mean, in the short term, I think the beginning of the year is going to be a little rough, but I think we're gonna get better throughout the year. That's what we're seeing. Is all the forecasts for it. Longer term, you know, we need houses built, and I'm going to keep needing to, paint those houses for people. Uh, and I think that this particular model really speaks to a lot of the like younger Gen X, millennials. We try to take as much off their plate as we can. We know that everybody's really busy, and so trying to get to you quicker, get it done quicker, get it off of your mind, like all those things are kind of bonus features that we have that, and our communication is just top notch. So I think that really speaks to, the customers that are going to be up and coming in the future years.
Yeah, I love that. And, it all does come down to communication, especially with the collaboration, everything you're talking about. To build these networks, you have to be well versed in being able to communicate with each other. I have a kind of a side question because you're a painter here. And I know we probably have listeners out there that are painters or are around painters. And a question that probably comes up a lot is paint or brush or spray? What's the best way to do this?
So, I mean, for us, like I said, we do a lot of lived in houses. So we do 90% of our business is probably brush and roll. For empty houses, spraying is great. Um, but if we've got to worry about grandma's armoire that's been in the family for 100 years, I don't really want to be spraying around that, right? I'd much rather just cover it up and brush and roll it. But spraying can be great. We do a lot of spraying for exteriors and for cabinets. And if we've got an empty house that someone's looking to move into, quickly, then we can also do it then. But most of our business is brush and roll. New construction, definitely spray all of it.
Awesome. And for anybody that's an up and coming or somebody that's listening to the Construction Champions podcast because they're looking to they want to move into the construction industry, they want to be into trades, being somebody that's just recently transitioned into that, what for advice would you give them when looking at making that transition?
Find people that have been there and done it. Like, the nice thing again about my franchise is that I've got 60, 70 other people with their teams. Collectively we have centuries of experience.
Hmm.
And we share like a general chat where, like, if somebody's having a problem, we can just throw a question in there, and whether it's production or customer service or just HR, even, like, we can take care of that in there. For people that are coming new to the trades, yeah, finding that mentor, and just I think one of the best things that our founder says, Brian Scudamore, he says, be willing to fail. It's okay to fail. It's okay to make a mistake. It's all about how you rebound from that. Like, sometimes we mess up. How am I going to take care of that customer? How am I going to make them feel that I that they are heard and that their concerns are valid, and how am I going to take care of it? That's just, at the end of the day, taking care of that customer is the biggest part of it, more so than even the trade itself, I think.
Awesome. Yeah, that is so true, because at the end of the day, creating happy customers is what this is all about. Because that's what ends up putting food on the table for yourself, your family. It creates refers. It allows you to hire people. It allows you to continue to grow. So, Philip, if anybody wanted to reach out to you or contact you, or say they're in the Eastern North Carolina area and want their house painted, how would they find you?
So I'm on LinkedIn, Philip Cornelison. Also, wowoneday.com. We can book you an online estimate that way, and I'll be in touch with you pretty quick.
Awesome. Well, Philip, thank you for being here on Construction Champions today. It has been an awesome episode. I love your customer service philosophy and putting that customer first.
Thanks, Ron. It was a blast being here, man.
Awesome. All right, Construction Champions. Another great episode with another great guest. Dropping fire. Talking about turning that customer vision into an end project, and how do we collaborate to move through that as a collective group. And some of the stuff that I took away that was absolutely amazing is finding that person to help guide you to where you want to go. I think all too often in the construction industry, we end up looking at stuff as we're on an island. We're out there all by ourselves when we're really not. This industry's been around for as long as anybody can remember. We've been building things. People have knowledge, and that knowledge wants to be passed down. It's like Jake said 20 episodes ago. You just have to reach out and ask, because if you don't ask, you never know. And by reaching out to those around you, finding mentors, that is what will help lead us and transition that knowledge. And that's what makes Construction Champions. As we continue to grow as people in an industry, working together and collaborating is what would get us over the hurdles that we call issues. All right, Construction Champions, until next time, go be the champion you were meant to be.